Hello guys, I'm Aveline and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all having an amazing day. So, I am home from Paris and the weekend as well with the family is over. I am back home, I'm working. I did have to take the evening off yesterday because we've been driving for so many hours and I was I was so tired. But I started building this house today and I really wanted it done in time to upload it today as well. So I decided to build a tiny house. It is inspired, or at least the interior of it is inspired by Scandinavian design, or Scandinavian interior. So basically, okay, every time I do something like this, I'm like, hey guys, I'm Scandinavian. But I'd also like to point out that every time I mention that I'm from Denmark, someone is always surprised in the comment section. Some Dane out there does not realize that I'm Danish, and it's a pleasant surprise to them that I am. So there you go. That's why I mention it so often, because I do realize that I don't sound super Danish when I speak English, if that makes any sense. So anyways, yes, I'm Scandinavian. I love Scandinavian interior. I live in a Scandinavian apartment and it's lovely. And I really wanted to build a tiny house that was, or at least the interior of it was inspired by this design. Or design style, interior style, yes. So that is what we're doing today. Of course, the exterior is also mid-century modern, but it's not the most detailed exterior, though. How do you say that? It's a tiny house, so it's kind of limited what you can do with the shape of the house. That's why I find it so easy to build mid-century modern houses as well as tiny houses. So that's why a lot of my tiny houses are mid-century modern houses. It's just really easy to do the shape of them, and because you don't have a lot of tiles to work with, and mid-century modern houses are pretty simple when it comes to the shape. Is that making any sense to you guys? But yeah, so a lot of them are mid-century modern. Today's no exception. I'll try to make the next tiny house that I do a little bit different, so it's not a mid-century modern house. I do want to say that the last one I did, which one was that? The tiny mountain retreat, I think. That one, I don't actually know what that was considered. It was a lot of fun to do though, so I might do something like that again in the future at some point. I'm not really sure. But as always, when I go away somewhere and I come back, I feel like I have to play catch up a little bit with the channel for the first couple of days. So tomorrow I might not do anything, or I might do like another apartment or something. It's just, trust me when I say that speed build videos and apartment videos as well take a long time to make. So you can probably do like a let's play episode in 3 hours, but there's no way that I personally can't do a house in 3 hours. It takes me at least 4 or 5, and that's just smaller builds. So the bigger builds take a lot longer, and yeah, it's how it is. When you do speed builds, it is what it is. So I always play catch up a little bit when I go away because there's just a lot to do when you come back again. But it's all good. So yeah, but I hope you guys like this house that we are building today or decorating today. I'm sorry that it took me quite a long time to get into the furniture properly. I was actually watching carpool karaoke with karaoke, as you guys call it. I call it karaoke. Anyways, I've been calling it that ever since I can remember, so I'm just gonna stick to it. So anyways, I was watching Carpool Karaoke with James Corden and BTS, which was so much fun. But I can't watch and build at the same time because they were speaking Korean and I had to read the subtitles. So it's kind of like going on and off building while watching that, and it was a little bit confusing. But it was a lot of fun to watch. Definitely recommend you watch that episode. Even if you're not a fan of them, it's still a lot of fun to watch. Actually, one of my friends who's not the biggest K-pop fan, I want to say, linked it to me and said she found it a lot of fun, so that's why I watched it, and yeah, definitely recommend. But anyways, so we have started with the interior properly now, I think. We're starting out with the kitchen, as always. There's a couple of things that I always put down when I do tiny houses because I just want to make sure that I have the layout, like it's okay. It has room for like a bed, for example, and a proper living room area. Also, I feel like my tiny houses have gotten bigger since tiny living came out. I think it's because of the 64 tile count, because 32 is the micro home, then you got 64 for tiny houses, and then 100 for smaller builds or small builds. small homes, whatever you call those. So I just feel like since the tile count can go to 64, all my tiny houses have become huge. I don't know if that's a problem. Let me know if you'd like them to be smaller. I'll just ignore the tile count and make them a little bit smaller. But I just feel like looking at this house, it's quite a big tiny house, you know? But still though, it's only got room for 2 Sims, and their bathroom is a 2x1 room as well, so everything is very close together, and it is play tested though, so it should work completely fine. Nothing should be bugging out there. I do want to say that. Also, of course, since we are going for Scandinavian interior, I did use a lot of items from both Get Famous, because that did come with mid-century modern items, but also Tiny Living, because mid-century modern is very Scandinavian, and you know, that's just the style that we're going for, so I used those packs. I did not make this pack restricted in any way. I tend to not do that with my builds. So if you're curious about that, it's just, I've used a little bit of everything, I think. But it's mainly Get Famous and Tiny Living for the furniture, at least. A lot of the decor might come from other packs, but as for the furniture, mainly Get Famous and Tiny Living. So also, if you're wondering about the car outside the house, it's a world object. Every time I use cars, someone is always like, where'd you get that CC item? Or is that a mod or something? No, it's in the game. If you have the base game, you can use the cheats in the description box down below. I always write them there. I always leave them there, so they should be easy for you to find. Just type them in your game, and then over on the left side of the screen right now where it says search, you basically just type in debug, you press on one of the options that pop up, and then you have a whole lot of items to go through, and there'll be a couple of cars in there, possibly more than a couple, like 10 different ones in different colors too, I think. So it's a world object, it's not a CC item, it's not a mod, it's not functional, it's just decor, but I love to use them because it adds a little bit of realism to exteriors. So I'd love functional cars though at some point, but I feel like since we got them as world objects, somehow that kind of lowers the chances of us getting them as functional items, you know? So not really sure that's ever happening, and honestly, I don't, like, it's not on my must-have list. It would be nice to have them, but it's not like, it won't make or break my game, if that makes any sense. So I do want to talk a little bit about what we did in Paris because it was a lot of fun. I did mention in one of the apartment builds that went up on the channel while I was gone why we were in Paris, and it was to go to a concert or it was mainly to go to a concert, but it was also just to hang out, actually. So we left on my mom's birthday, and we basically I drove for 12 hours that day. Like, I was so toasted the next day. My neck hurt like crazy, but basically we managed to drive all the way from Denmark to Paris in a day. My mom drove for 2 hours, I drove for 12, or 11, 12 or something like that. I was so done. But it was actually nice to get there in just one day, so we wouldn't have to drive for a lot of the time, or a lot of the Wednesday. So we basically just had the Wednesday to chill out and relax and get some energy, because we definitely needed that. And then we went to a concert in the evening. So in case you didn't watch the apartment build, I don't talk about this a lot on my channel just because I feel like K-pop is a little bit of a sensitive subject to some people. A lot of people don't like it for some reason. It's just music in Korean. Anyways, but I'm a big EXO fan, so there is a group that's kind of put together by members of different groups, and it's called Super M, and they were in Paris, and I got to see them, and it was pretty freaking good. So yeah, I was really excited about that, it was really, really good, and I was, happy with it. So the next day on, when was that, Thursday, we just went out to sightsee a little bit. It was raining, and it was so windy and so cold, so we decided to hop on one of the hop-on, hop-off buses instead of walking around, which we would have done. But it was so windy, and my mom and I both had, like, after driving a lot, you know, we were tired, and I'd also just gotten over sickness and my foot issue too, because she drove over my heel or parked on my heel. So we just decided to take one of the bus tours, which was nice. We got to see a lot. Even though we've been in Paris 4 times, this is the 5th time, I think. because I've already seen everything, but it's been a while since the last time I was there, so it was nice to see everything again. We're kind of talking about going again some point over the summer, because I think it would be nice to go back when it's not super windy and super cold, but it's not fully settled yet, because I also have other travel plans that I want to do, experience, whatever. So nothing is settled yet, but we are talking about it, so we might do that over the summer at some point. Not fully sure yet. Anyways, so yeah, that's why I went, and it was great. It was pretty awesome. It was amazing, and I am so happy that it ended up working out and everything. So yeah, now you got a little bit of an update of what I've been doing. Anyways, we have started continued the exterior, started the landscaping, and I want to say that the landscaping is not super Scandinavian. You won't find a lot of these kinds of flowers here because it's just way too cold. These are more, especially the orange bush kind of thing, and also the red flowers that are from Island Living actually. They're just a little bit too tropical for this kind of climate because Denmark does get very cold. Not as bad as Norway and Sweden because we are further south, but it's still pretty cold during winter. So, and also not super warm during summer either, unless there's a heat wave of some sort. So we don't have those kinds of plants here, at least not naturally in the forest or you get what I mean. Anyways, I don't really know where those plants grow, so because we don't have them. But I love to use flowers for my landscapings. I just like to go a little bit crazy with them. I like to make everything sort of lush and pretty and colorful when it comes to landscaping. So I did that, even though it's not the most Scandinavian, but it suited the house, so I had to do it. But the interior definitely is. Even though I want to say that I made it probably a little bit more colorful compared to what most people think of when they think Scandinavian interior, but you can do Scandinavian interior in a lot of different color schemes, to be honest. It doesn't just have to be, did that sentence make any sense? It doesn't have to be white and black or white and gray or just like a lot of white. That's not the only way to do Scandinavian interior. So, of course, a lot of different people have different styles here in Scandinavia, but when you think of Scandinavian interior, it would be mid-century modern, but you can do a lot of different color schemes. So I just added a little bit of color in there. Anyways, I was looking at the floor plan picture I have up on my second monitor, and I just noticed, and I thought I would just comment on it. But anyways, for the exterior, definitely swayed away from the Scandinavian vibes just a little bit. So I also gave them a pool here in the backyard. They have a couple of lounge chairs and also an outdoors kitchen. So they can sit outside, they can have friends over and grill some delicious food and eat together, have some cozy time, hyggetil, whatever you want to call that, and just chill out and relax and be content and happy. And yeah, that's about it for this build, I think. So if you guys like it, you can download it off the gallery. My ID is AvelineYT, and you can also find it under the hashtag Aveline or AvelineYT. Let me know what other builds you want to see here on the channel in the comment section down below. And other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember to like and subscribe and all that good stuff if you did. And I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye!
The great yellow sun is reflecting in your deep blue eyes. The day has begun. You spin around, you laugh to yourself. And I see you shine in every color, resting your head in my arms. You sing la la la. like it's been forever, laughing all